Hello. Just waiting for everybody to join here. So welcome to the webinar for bank reconciliation in Sparkrock 365. We're going to be exploring the enhanced features and methods. We'll go through the introductions and housekeeping, some overview of new features. We'll have a couple demos for you as well, and then we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A. You might recognize a couple familiar faces in the session today, but in case you don't know who we are, I'm Taylor Boulding. I'm Customer Success Manager. We have Rhett Williams today doing a demonstration. He's also a Senior Finance Consultant. We have Matt Williams completing the demonstration today as well, who's also a Senior Finance Consultant. And we have Brianna Ramsden, who's the Marketing Manager. Just a couple housekeeping items. We ask that you remain muted at all times until the end when we can complete the Q&A. If you could add any questions during the session to the Q&A, we can review those at the end and we'll ensure that we get some answers for you. And just to let you know as well, we will be adding this presentation to the Sparkrock Learn site within the next week. And we're also going to send this out in an email to anybody who had registered in case you need to leave or you want to share this with your team. All right, and there's been a slight change in the order here, so I'm just going to jump ahead. And I'm going to pass it off to Rhett. Rhett, you're muted in case you are talking.
I was on mute. Okay, yeah, so I was talking. Hello, everybody. I must apologize, I'm not going on camera. I'm actually not at my usual place for some. I'm actually doing this from a place where I would not normally work from. So I hope it all works out fine. Am I sharing my screen yet? No, I'm not. Okay. Okay, I'm just waiting to share the screen. I'm going to share. Okay. Are you able to see my screen now?
It's just loading.
Okay. Can you use my screen? Okay. All right. Is it there yet? No, you can see my screen.
No, I can't see your screen, Rhett.
You can't see it. Let me stop sharing and share it again. Okay. Right. And see. Time. Seeing my screen.
I'm just seeing a black screen. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but.
Yep, we seem to be having some tech
Matt,
issues.
can you see my screen at all?
No, we can't see your screen, Rhett.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and try sharing it again. Share my screen. You say it's only is black. Let's try this other window. Okay, I'm going to try that. Just the one window. How does that work? Still not coming through?
No, it's not. Did you want to take some time and we can jump to Matt's section first?
Yeah, maybe let Matt start and perhaps it'll work a little bit later.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, yeah, if you want to switch back to the slides, Taylor, or if you want me to share, I can. And I'll just quickly go through my slides first, and then I'll switch to a demo. So we're talking about bank recs today. As a lot of you are aware, there were some changes to the bank reconciliation process in version 24. They got rid of the bank worksheet, the bank rec worksheet, and replaced it with the bank account reconciliation. I think the biggest difference is that the new bank rec is statement focused. So it looks for a statement upload, and then we take that statement upload and we compare it against items that are in our Sparkrock bank ledger. So you're reconciling from the statement to the Sparkrock bank ledger. I think that's a little bit different than before, where I think before it was more focused on looking at what was cleared and kind of filling in the gaps and making sure that the ending balances tie off. So that's what Rhett is going to demo. If you can kind of get around the technical issues. We have some different options here in the bank rec. So I'm going to show you more of a statement focused import, and then Rhett's going to show you something that's more similar to, I guess, the previous version, which involves suggest lines. If Rhett still is having trouble, I can help him out and do a little bit of a demonstration there as well. So we'll just see how this goes, but I can always step in as well. So if you want to go to the next slide. I'll just talk a little bit about this. So the most important thing when we're talking about getting a statement into Sparkrock is, how do we get that statement imported? And, coming from banks, like every bank has different types of imports and like what you can get out of the different bank sites. It's always different. I see all sorts of variety in this. And, to further complicate that, the banks often change the way the imports look. They'll update their site and all of a sudden your import will look a little bit different. But there is a great option that we've been using lately in assisted setup. And this allows you to import what you get from your bank into Sparkrock, and it's going to go through and figure out where everything is kind of landed in that import. So I will demonstrate this. I think it's a really easy way to do it. And the nice thing about it is you don't have to get into the data exchange and the setup, the configuration side. It's going to do all of that for you. So it's a really easy way to kind of do this. And, even going forward, it kind of future proofs you. If your bank does decide to change how they're importing, then you can just go back to the assisted setup and run it again and upload the new format and kind of get it going. If you want to go to the next slide as well, I'll just do my slides first and then I'll switch to a demo. I'm going to kind of tease this feature. I don't have this in use at any active clients because this is a brand new feature that is only working for our clients that are off the embed functionality. So I know a few of my clients that I've worked with are off embed, and I'm seeing this feature available. This is a bank feed, so different from an import. We use a feed, we connect to the bank account, and then we're able to select the bank accounts that we want to import, and then we can feed those transactions into the bank rec. So it's a really actually very simple process. You just go into the bank account card, and there's an option there. If you're off embed, you'll see that option that says bank statement service and linked online bank account. You click on that, and you get a listing of banks. From there, you just sign in to your bank and you select the accounts. There is some data, things you have to be okay with. You have to kind of review the data residency requirements of your organization to make sure this is okay, if you're all right with your bank data kind of going outside of this. So maybe some things, we have to kind of investigate a little bit more, but I will tease this today. I'll show you this, how the statement feed works as well, because it's pretty cool. We'll just keep going. I'll just kind of do a quick overview here, and then I'll get into the actual demo. So the new bank reconciliation is this side-by-side. So we see the statement on the left, and we see all the Sparkrock entries on the right. And we have options to import our bank statement, which I highlight there on the top. The big thing when you're creating new bank recs is we need the ending balance from the statement, and we need a statement date. That's just going to filter the transactions accordingly, and it'll allow us to post as long as our reconciliation is tied off. So this is the new bank rec screen, which I'm sure all of you are used to using now. So I will get in and I'll show a bank rec end to end here shortly. And then this is just showing you the statement feed from Yodlee. So this one, when you click on import bank statement, if you have this feed set up, it asks for a range of dates and you bring in those transactions. So again, I'm not going to get too far into the setup on this side. It is actually fairly straightforward to set up, but I will show you how it works. If people are interested in looking at that, they can, because it is very easy to set up. So finally, the reconciliation process. This is the process that I typically walk through with my clients. Once we have that bank statement set up with the ending balance and the date, we do kind of run through these processes. So we start with auto matching and we review the results of that. We look at anything else. If there's EFTs or anything that we need to manually match, we do that after our auto match. We do have the ability to add new transactions, so things that have cleared the bank, but I maybe haven't entered yet in Sparkrock. There is an option in there to create that journal entry for those new transactions. Once all of that is done, you should be reconciled, so then you can post and print. And then I will touch on, reprinting or undoing bank reconciliations. You're never stuck. With some things, when you post a general journal, to back it out, you would have to do a reversal. But for bank recs, it's not as, I'm going to say it's not as like a strong process once you post. If you realize you've made a mistake down the road, you've reconciled something that you weren't supposed to, it is relatively straightforward to undo that reconciliation, make the changes, and then repost it again. And you can also reprint the reporting out of there as well. So I will show that as well. So we'll just maybe go to that very last slide I have. Just to touch on this, undoing bank reconciliations, this is done inside of the bank card. You click on bank account in the ribbon and then select statements. You're going to see all the posted statements there. And then from there, you can reprint or you can undo the statement. So I'll touch on this a little bit as I go through, just because I do think it's important, definitely something we run into. So that's kind of a quick overview. I'm going to switch and take over the share here. I am also just going to shut off my camera just so my internet here works well. Let's clear my screen here. Okay, so I am in a demo environment here, and this is exit embed. You can see the URL here has changed. If you read the release notes, you have a slightly different URL now. So this one is off the embed functionality, which is great. Kind of opens up a lot of things, but that's the environment I'm working in. So we'll just start. I'll just leave it here on the bank accounts, but I'm going to start with the assisted setup and show you how to do the statement import setup. So we can just search for assisted setup. I don't think it's in any of the menus. It might be on some of the role centers, but I think the fastest way is just to search for it. So I'll pick assisted setup. And I'm going to scroll down to get ready for business. And the option in here is set up a bank statement file import format. And you can run this as many times as you want for all your different accounts. And then, like I said, if the imports change, you can do that as well. You can just run it again. So we open it up and it says, welcome to the statement file setup. We can import statement files for use in bank accounts. Let's go, choose next to upload your bank statement file. So that's what we're going to do. I'll click next here. Now I have just 1 second. I have a file here. Just open this one. So this is a Scotia file, just with some standard information. It's got check numbers in it and information. So I got this right from Scotiabank, and this one we'll use. So this is what you can do. You can pull it from your bank. It usually typically wants it in that CSV format. One thing to note is just watching some of the formats and stuff in here. We'll see that as we go through. So I'm going to click here and upload this statement. That. And it says bank statement file successfully uploaded. You don't want to flag this on. It says define the bank statement file layout yourself. It's going to be able to detect this as we go through, so we don't have to use this option. So you don't need to turn that on. We can just click next. And you see immediately, you can see, a chunk of the statement here below. It recognizes that there's a header line here. We don't want to import this. We just want the data. So it's going to skip the header line. You'll kind of see here, it really does a lot of this for you. Oh, just hold on one sec. I'm just going to try that again. So skip the header line. And then as we come in here, it detects the statement format. So you can see it knows that there's commas between the columns. It knows that there's 7 columns, and it knows the line separator. So again, this is really pretty hands-off. As long as you can see your statement down below here, it's reading it, so you can just continue. And then when we get to this screen, it asks us to identify the date and the amount and the description column. So we see all of those here. It does try to figure out, which one of these is the correct one. So it's got the date and the amount. Description, sometimes in the bank files, there's more than one description. If you wanted a different one, I could just switch it. I could say, actually, the description I want is in column 3, and you can see it automatically updates it there. So that looks good. This is what I expect. I'm going to hit next. And then in this screen, we just have to define the date format and the amount. I will say, like, one kind of comment on date formats that I see, sometimes when you open CSVs in Excel, it's going to switch the date to whatever your system date format is. I'm using the ISO date. You can see it down here in my system tray. So that's what I prefer. But if you have more than one person working on bank reconciliation, you probably all want to make sure you're using the same system format, or you're just like, no one's accidentally changing that date format when you're opening those files. But I'm just going to give it the date format. So this one's year, 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 year. The months have to be capitalized, and then I'm putting the dashes in as well, just to match this format here. And then for the amount, the decimal separator here is a dot. So I have a dot there. I'm going to hit next. And that's it. So it does allow you to do a little test here, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like. So that looks great. That's what I expect. I can hit next. And then in here, I am able to put a format code and assign this to a bank account. So I know I said that was a Scotia one, but I'm just going to assign it to this TD account right here. If you do have an existing import format, so you can see that's what this one has, it's just going to ask you if you want to overwrite it. So again, this would be if your bank had changed the way they were doing imports, you could go in and overwrite the old one with the new one, and it handles all of kind of the back end setup for you, which is really nice. So I'll just say yes here and finish. And we're done. So that account now is ready for import. If we look here at the account, you can see it's got the statement import format there that I set up. So it's a really great way to do statement imports. I think it's easy. You could probably even try it today if you haven't done that, and you can go through and set up that import. So that's kind of I think the initial key is getting that import set up. I will come back. I'm going to show the bank rec first, and I'll come back and talk about the bank feed. You can see I do have this one account here set up with the bank feed. So I'm just going to show the reconciliation first, and then we can talk a little bit about the bank feed after that. Maybe just pause there. I don't know if there's any questions. If there is anything, just kind of flag it to me and let me know. So let's go ahead and start a reconciliation. Oh, there is a question, a couple questions. Maybe we'll just pause here for a second. I don't know if this is how we want to run it, but I'm okay if we want to, people want to ask questions on the fly, or we can take them up later.
I'm unmuting some mics, so our first hand up, go for it.
Okay, I tried and at the sandbox, but it say I don't have the permission. So I don't know, is that I need to talk to our IT?
Talk to your system admin and they should be able to give you the permission to access that area.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, Crystal, go ahead.
If we have two columns that we have descriptions in on our bank export, are we able to, or do we have to combine them in the Excel before we load it?
Yeah, good question. The basic setup there just allows for the one description column. If you have any knowledge with the data exchanges, you can run that process and get that data exchange all set up. And you can actually go into the data exchange and add the other description column and just map them both to the same, description area. So that's getting a little more advanced, but it's definitely possible. It just requires going into that data exchange and adding that extra column in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And Arifa, go ahead.
Hi. So for what we do for our bank statements, it's automatically imported. So that doesn't relate to this. This is only for manual imports, right?
Yeah, it's for manual imports. So Arifa, you're using the Yodlee bank feed, is that right?
It's coming through Bank Fabric.
Okay, that might be a different setup. I'm not familiar with that one, but yeah, this would be if you didn't have an import at all and you wanted to create one.
I see. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump into reconciliation. I'll try to keep moving here. So under cash management, you can go to bank account reconciliation. You can always bookmark this as well. I'm going to create a new reconciliation. You select the bank account. I'm going to use BMO here just because I have some transactions on here. And I'm going to pick my statement date of the 30th. And then the last thing you want to do is you do want to put in your ending balance. So this would be from your bank statement. You want to enter it here. This is how it knows if the statement you've done is balanced. So it uses this number to check for balance. Then we're going to go to bank and import our bank statement. And I'm just going to drag in statement here. And it loads all of my transactions. So this would be from my bank. So then the first step, once I'm at this point, is I want to run my auto matching just to kind of take care of most of the transactions that are more straightforward. So I'll say match automatically. I do the tolerance here. I leave it blank. I want it to, not kind of go outside of the range. Some people will increase this tolerance a little bit just so it picks up more. But just for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to leave this blank. So it's going to be looking at all the criteria to perform an auto match. So I'll say OK. And it says 27 out of 41 lines are matched. That's great. 75% of my statement is matched right out of the box. And I'll just talk a little bit about auto match because we do sometimes, we've had occasional issues with auto match where it doesn't actually match what we expect. So the big thing when you create those imports is you do want the check number to be here in the description. And you can always go up here to match details. So I'll just look at this one in particular. And you can see here it's saying it matched this on remaining amount. So it looked at the amount, the document number, which is our check number, posting date, and it pulled in the description as well. So this is a really high quality match. Auto match is great, but I think you have to still review what the auto match is doing and making sure it works properly. And I think this actually leads, into the the version that Rhett is going to show you, when you have a lot of checks, like in some of our high volume accounts that we see, especially at some of the school districts, sometimes auto match is a little bit tricky to use, and maybe the other method will work better. So it definitely works, but you want to be checking your match details as you go through and ensuring that it is it's matching things accurately. If you find it's not, you might want to switch that tolerance and change it a little bit. But you can see on all of these the matches are good and they're picking it up. But again, having that check number in the description, that's really key. So when you're getting that export from your bank, you want to make sure you're putting that check number into that description field. So one of the drawbacks, I'll just finish this section and then we can take up a couple questions. One of the drawbacks of this method is that our EFTs on the Sparkrock side are always individual payments, where when they go through the bank, they're often a single payment. So we do have to do manual matching is kind of our next one. So I'm just going to show you some of that. So this is an example. This might be what EFT looks like on the bank. It'll say debit memo or EFT or something like that, and it'll be a total. So if I know, that this EFT run on the 2nd of June was related to, these payments right here, I can select them all. Now, what I'm doing there to pick all of those is I'm just selecting the top one here. I'm kind of putting my mouse cursor right in this far left corner. I'm holding down Shift and I'm just scrolling down the screen, and I'm selecting, as I'm holding Shift, I'm selecting the bottom one, and that'll pick all of them. Another thing you can do, I know these screens are a little bit tight here. You can click on this word general here and it'll collapse this top part and just give you a little bit more real estate. So, on this side, I've got all of these ones selected. And then on this side, I'm on this one. I'm going to click on match manually, and that's going to reconcile them. And it shows me here that I got the right set. You can see they match. If I click on this link here, it's going to show me all the checks that were applied on that one. Similarly, sometimes, you do things in Sparkrock that are lump sum, but then potentially the bank has broken it out. So if we look at this one, I've got a single entry here on Sparkrock. And I'm going to just pick this range here on the bank side, and again, say match manually. It'll pick it up and do all of the matches here. So fairly easy. I know, this was one of the complaints around like matching EFTs. I do think it depends on your EFT process. If you're running EFTs every day, I get that it can be a little bit challenging to always run those matches. But if you're in a cadence where you're doing a bigger EFT run every week or something like that, this could be something that you right off the bat, you just quickly go and match. And as you can see, it's not too hard to do those matches. We can only do matching many to one, either way. So you can have many entries on the statement side to one entry on the Sparkrock side, or vice versa. Many on the Sparkrock side to one on the bank statement side. So maybe I'll just pause there. I do see a question here from Vishal. Go ahead, Vishal.
Hi, thanks, Matthew. Just a quick question. Earlier you mentioned about entering the check number in the description. So
Yes.
Is it safe to conclude that the system is looking at the description as the primary source to match it with Sparkrock?
That is correct. Yes, it is.
Okay, because we'd set up the document number as well from the bank statement lines, thinking that, okay, the check number that we're using in Sparkrock will kind of tie into the document number set up, on the bank statement lines, and we're trying to see if that could auto match it, but did not. So
yeah, try putting it in the description. I feel like it does work on the document number as well, but we've had the most success putting it in the description field. And again, if you're familiar with the data exchanges, you could concatenate multiple fields. Like, I know these ones are like perfect, but it'll read the number in here, even if it's part of a bigger string, and be able to do the matching there as well. So yeah.
Okay. Now, can I ask one more question to your second portion? So as you mentioned that if we have one transaction in the bank statement line and multiple transaction in Sparkrock, then you can match it. Is that true? And vice versa?
It's true, but it's always many to one. We can't do, I know some people have asked for many to many, where it's like, can I match 3 to 2? You can't do that. I think the reason is it's hard to define the logic of how that would match. So you can do many to one, but you can't do many to many. So yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that's what I just wanted to get confirmation of that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Yep. And Shelley, we'll take one more question here and then I'll move
hi there.
on.
I am just wondering that when we do our EFT runs, which includes accounts payable and payroll, is there a setting that we can do that it automatically applies it on the bank ledger entries?
So I think the other method we're going to show you after this is it will show you if they've been cleared, like it will auto clear those EFTs for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like I think it's a question of like, you know, how challenging is it to say, I know what that run is. It's this big long string of EFTs, and I see it right on the bank, and you match them together. Like, I think it's fairly straightforward to do, but I get, you know, you get a lot of entries over here. It gets it gets a bit challenging for sure. So
we could have 300 lines.
For sure. Yeah. So that is definitely something we heard early on. And I think what Rhett's going to demonstrate, or if he's having trouble, I'll do the demonstration myself. You can, the alternate method addresses that. And, you know, the EFTs are something we're still discussing and trying to improve a bit in this method as well.
So the EFTs, like that auto, can't be used with the bank statement upload?
Well, you can, but you have to match them manually. It's not going to auto clear them because it doesn't see the connection, right? It doesn't see that the two are linked together. So something we're working on, but at the moment it's a manual match. Yeah.
Okay. And then I also had another question. So then when you are uploading the statement, you're doing it like just at the end of the month?
I am. Now you can do it progressively if you want to do that as well. And I'll maybe, when I get to the feed as well, Shelley, you can maybe see the feed. Definitely you could bring it in more progressively and even be doing it like daily or something, right? So,
and then your comment about overriding, like, is there a potential that, like, if I thought that I did May 25th, but I didn't, and then I go in and pull in May 23, 24, 25, is it going to override everything? Or is it smart enough to know that, hey, this is already here?
Yeah, I think it would break the matches, but then you could just redo them. So I think you do have to be careful if you're reconciling progressively, not to kind of overwrite it. I think it gives you a pop-up and it says, do you want to overwrite the matches? And you can say yes or no.
Okay.
So I'm going to move on just in the sake of time. I see there is one more hand up. Maybe just put your question in the chat and I will address it, or we can get back to you.
You need to turn the chat on then.
Oh,
we can't put,
there's no chat.
We can't put a chat in.
We also have the Q&A that you can add it in there.
Okay.
You should be able to create a post there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, and again, just in the interest of time, I'm going to move quickly here. So one thing you can do here is you can switch this to just show the non-match. So since I've matched a whole bunch of stuff here already, in fact, I can see I've got everything matched. It's on my side, but there's still a few entries here on this side. I can click on show non-matched and I'm left with just what's left on the bank statement. So I can see right now that I've reconciled everything in Sparkrock, but I am left with, you know, some service charges and a couple deposits, a few things that didn't, you know, haven't been entered yet in Sparkrock. So there is an option here to kind of quickly create entries for these. So again, I'm selecting all of these. I'm using my shift key there to pick them all, and I can go to home. And there's an option here that says transfer to general journal. I'm going to select that. The first time you do this, you're going to have to pick a template and a batch. So typically it's going to be general, and then your batch, you can use your batch or a bank rec batch, whatever you want. We can say okay. And that's going to pull in these lines here. I actually have some other stuff in here. Just going to remove that. So what we need here, obviously, is we need some coding. I'm just going to quickly add some sample coding in here. So you have to add your account set or your dimensions if that's what you're using. And I'm just going to code these to supplies. I know there's some deposits and stuff in there, but we'll just Just for the interest of time, I'll just quickly add some coding here, just like that. And you can see all the amounts are already here, and it's automatically balanced to the bank. So we have this balance account in here already. So as soon as I post this, it wants me to release because I have account set validation on. I do have account sets on everything. I'm going to post this. If you had an approval, it would obviously have to go through approval first before you posted it. We just don't have anything here. And then as soon as I do that, you can see everything's gone now. I'm just going to show everything. So you can see now these are also automatically reconciled. So it knows, because I did that process through the bank rec here, that when I come back here, it automatically reconciles those entries on this side. So this bank reconciliation is done now. Now, the way I check for balance is I look at these two fields here. You want to be on show all because these numbers will change depending on what you have up here. The total difference should be 0. That means I've reconciled everything that's in my statement. And then the total balance here is it's calculated by taking the balance from the last statement and then adding up all the statement lines. That should equal our ending balance. So I can see that those two are the same. Because they are, I can go ahead and post this statement. So I'm going to do that. Post. And you do have an option here to open this. I'm just going to say no. Like sometimes people, they want to be able to print this. I'm going to say no here because I just want to show you the other side here. In terms of undoing the statement, I'm almost through here. So we'll open up BMO. And under bank account, the statements are right here. You can search for this as well. If you search for statements, maybe I'll say bank statements, bank account statement list. So you can get them for all your accounts there. But if you want them just for this particular account, you can access it here. So there it is, statement number 11. That's the one I posted. So I am able to open it and look at it. I can reprint it here if I want, if I've forgotten to print the statement, and I can also undo it. So if I do an undo, I'll just show you how that works. It's like this. You can see it takes it right back to exactly how it was right before I posted it. So there's all the information is still matched. I could go in and you can remove the matches if you've made a mistake or something like that, re-reconcile, and then repost it again. So don't be afraid to post the bank recs, I guess is what I like to tell people. You can always back them up and make changes. So it's very easy to do that. So that's the full process. I'm going to tease the statement feed here. Let me show you that, and then I'm done. I'll step aside. Here, I'm going to open up, sorry. Just going to go back to my reconciliations. So I do have that statement feed set up on this account. And again, the way to set it up is you just go into that bank account and you say, set up that link, and then it'll ask you to sign in. You have to provide your bank information, like your username and password. You sign into your bank site, and then it'll connect. It'll give you a list of the accounts. You pick which accounts you want to pull from, and then you can start pulling the transactions in. So there's a few transactions in here already. And if I use this import bank statement, I see, arrange. So I can just say, okay. And it'll pull in the additional transactions here. So you can see all the different transactions. So this would be great for that. I know there's a question earlier about progressive reconciliation. I don't know if it supports all banks. It supports definitely the major banks in Canada and US banks as well. So maybe something to try out. It's easy to turn it off and on. You have to be okay with the data. There are some terms and conditions when you go through, so make sure you review those and it's okay for your organization to do that. But this is something maybe we'll talk about it more in a future webinar. But as we're coming off embed, this is something I've looked at for a while, so I was excited to see it works off embed, and it's just a way to build a more persistent connection to your bank. I think that's it for me. Maybe any questions? I don't want to take up too much time here. I feel like I've taken up a bit too much.
We do have one in the Q&A.
Okay.
Are you able to see it, or do you want me to read it out to you?
Let me see here. Regarding many-to-many, one-to-many, is there a way to clear two transactions, positive and negative, that are both on the bank account entry side without clearing anything on the statement? Yes, that's a good question. So definitely sometimes we end up with like a void where we have an in and an out transaction. You know, you can always add an extra line here and say like void clears, and just keep it as $0, and you are able to still perform matches to that $0 statement line. So as long as you're the two match on this side to 0, you can reconcile them to a $0 statement line here as well. Maybe one more question, then we'll let Rhett take it away. Veronica, you have a question? Go ahead. You're still on mute. You're...
Oh, Valence or Veronica, you have access to your mic, so you're good to chat.
Okay. I have a question in regards. There was similar, like I have the balance is a negative amount, and the reconciliation is a total for the month to be reconciled, but I don't. It doesn't make sense to me this one because it has a negative amount when the balance is positive. So maybe I'm doing something wrong with that statement.
Yeah, so underneath the bank side, the balance is the total amount that's accumulated in the statement. So it's like basically a summary of your statement, and then the total balance just includes the balance last statement. So yeah, mine are negative. I mean, typically they're positive. It's just because I was drawing that bank down with all those payments. Really, like when I look at them, the big ones I look at are, I want total difference to be 0, and I want total balance underneath my statement side to match my ending balance. If those two are true, it's going to let you post the bank rec. You're reconciled.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and maybe I know there's another question here. Maybe just post it in the Q&A, and I will follow. I'll answer in there, but I'm going to let Rhett go ahead and start with his section here if he's able to share.
Yeah, so let me try sharing now. I did some moving around and left and rejoined, so let's see if it works this time. Okay, so let me know if it's coming through.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so Matt has shown you all the nice shiny stuff. I'm going to sort of show how we've kind of engineered a way to sort of keep it the way that you used to do it using the sort of suggest lines method. It's got some advantages and some disadvantages to what Matt has showed. I think the one big advantage is that it sort of clears the EFTs automatically as best as in a way that's a lot easier than trying to do the one EFT through the bank and many through Sparkrock. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that to start off with, I've got no bank reconciliations on the go yet. So for the account that I want to be working with, we'll just go bank reconciliation. Sorry, bank reconciliations. So I've got nothing. I'm not doing for these two accounts. I'm doing for another account. So it doesn't create. There's nothing created at this point. The reason why I'm showing you that is that I want to show you that we can use the upload to clear your checks. So that would be, but you don't have to. So the method I'm showing you, you can use the upload or you don't have to. Anyway, to do the upload, if I go onto the bank account that I'm using, you will need to just set up the to set up the bank statement import. So that would just be using that import export bank details, and there is a data exchange that you would want to use. So if I just show you, click check import, and then you can use the standard Sparkrock check import data exchange, or you could actually probably build a data exchange the way Matt showed you. If you want to get a bit smarter, I think it would work exactly the same. If you want to know where the bank statement import can be found, the data exchange, you can find it here on the help screen. Just search for bank statement import, and it also has the standard check Excel import, which I'm going to be using, and that's what it looks like. You can download it from the help screen, so it's fairly easy to set up your data exchange and to get a template going. As I said, you don't have to use this template. You can build your data exchange just the way that Matt showed you. Okay. Right, so I'm not going to boil the ocean with that too much. So we've got this feature here that we've now exposed, and it's called import cleared checks. So I've set one up already. So you basically take this, and you've got your date format, you've got your check numbers, and I'm just clearing checks. That's all I'm really worried about, is just clearing the checks, debit amount, and that's basically it. Save it as a CSV. So I've got one saved, and what I've actually got here is I've got two checks that I want to clear. I've deliberately put a wrong amount there. So I just want to show you what happens when you do the import, and it should clear one and throw an exception for the other. Okay, so this is what you could do every day. The only thing is it does spawn a bank recon, but you can just delete that if you want to. So you could pull this in every day and then do your bank recon at the end of the month. Okay, so I'm going to import that. It'll do that, and I'm just going to give it a date for the end of the month. I'm just going to leave it blank. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I say, yep, I want to import something. So now you're not importing this from the bank recon. You're actually importing it from the bank account itself, and it's that one there, import clear checks. So I'm going to go and find that okay. So it said one transaction cleared and one exception found, and then it wants to put my exception file somewhere. So I'm saying okay. I want to save it in my downloads folder. So yes, I just want to replace that one. And it's going to come through my downloads folder. And if I open it, it'll tell me which check had the exception. So I could find that. Now, as I said, I've deliberately made one amount incorrect so that you can actually pick it up and say, oh, this is where I've got a problem. Okay, but it cleared one, and I have done some earlier ones that have cleared it. So what did that actually do? It goes into, so if I go into the bank account, I'm going to look at the check ledger entries, and what it's doing is it's the one that I cleared was this one there, that one I've just cleared. Now I cleared these some yesterday, and I cleared that for the 30th. So I'm actually going ahead in time a little bit, pretending I'm in the DeLorean and I've gone ahead of time for a little bit. So that is now cleared, and it's put a date in there. Just to also show you I ran some EFTs, and these are the EFTs that I ran, and it's showing as the date cleared as the date of the EFT. So the date of the EFT is also going in there, and it is showing as cleared. It's not really critical for doing the bank recon. In fact, I don't really use that, but you could use it. It's fairly, you can use it. What I'm really interested in is the checks themselves. Okay, so I've done my import. As I said, you don't have to do that import, but it's useful. It gives you a quick and easier way of doing the bank recon. And it does actually work. So once you've got the data exchange set up and that, so I'm now going to go into the bank reconciliation itself. Bank recon, the bank account reconciliations. So I said it would spawn one. So when that import happens, it spawns one. I'm just going to delete it. I don't need it. Okay, so delete. All right, I would rather create a bank recon, so I'm going to create a new one. And I'm going to select my bank account. And I'm now going to put in my date. So I want to reconcile this at 30th of June. Okay. Now, as Matt kind of showed you, this is very you're working on a statement versus the bank account. So I'm now going to go for suggest lines, and I'm going to go for suggest lines, and the lines are going to come in here. So whatever is going to come in there, whatever's there is going to be put in here, and it's going to assume that it is cleared. So that's what you're really working on. You're assuming it's cleared, and you want to remove the stuff that is not cleared. The rest of the mechanics of it's all the same. So, but what you should also do is go to your, I'm going to personalize this and personalize it so that you can see the check number and the document number. So it's simply personalize, go personalize on this block here and expose those two fields. Okay, but there's now another field here that says date cleared on check ledger entry. So what I normally do is to say, okay, I'm assuming everything is cleared. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to filter here, and I'm going to say, okay, filter. And I'm going to filter here. So I'm going to see where check number is. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to put in my check date, my check number range. So I'm just going to say 3, 5, ... say 2. Okay. So that way I've removed I've removed everything else out of here except for real checks. And then I'm going to go in here and I say, okay, fine. I want to just, if it's got no date there, I want to clear that. So I'm just going to go here and say filter, and I say where the date cleared is blank. And say, okay. Oops. Okay, clear filter. Sorry. Let's just go. I'm just going to filter to this value actually. Okay. Right. So I'm filtering. Actually, I'm not going to bother filtering it. Let's go and filter to this value. Okay, I seem to have a problem with a filter at the moment. But in what I'm trying to do is I want to get rid of the entries here, which are blank. So I'm just going to, I'm not sure why my filters are having an issue with my filter. Okay. So all of those I know are not cleared. So I'm going to delete them. So just go and delete the lines. So yes, lines are deleted. And that means they are now no longer matched. Now, the reason I've got the date in there, I've gone forward in time and I've actually got one that I've cleared after the month end. So let's pretend we're doing this, say, on the 10th of the month. I've been pulling in these things every day. That one I cleared on the 13th of June. Okay, July, not the 10th. I'm doing this on the 15th. I'm a bit behind. So I'm going to delete that one as well because at month end, that one was not cleared. Basically, assuming that there's nothing else, and I can now clear my filters, clear those filters, and pretty much these are cleared. My EFTs are showing as cleared. These checks are these checks should have cleared. Yeah, these checks are not cleared, so that's fine. So they have cleared. These are not checks, apologies. These are deposits. Those are deposits, and these are EFTs. So now effectively I've pretty much done my bank recon. If I put my opening statement balance in there, I'll be able to post it. Okay, I'm not going to go into actually doing that. What I normally do to check if it's all good is I run the test report, and I normally push this to Excel. And so I will send this to Excel, and then I can work on it from there. I like to have it in Excel. It just makes it much easier for me to work on. And then yeah, I didn't put a statement ending balance in there, but basically I would have this in Excel and then be able to work with it from there. Okay, clearly I can't. I've got to put in my statement balance and then go from there. But we're short on time, so I've got like 2 minutes left just to answer if any questions that you guys might have. Any questions?
We have a handful in the Q&A.
Okay, I'm not sure if I can see the Q&A.
Okay, I see.
I'm going to stop. Yeah.
Matt's answering some of them. Let me take a peek.
Can everybody
Alright.
see the comments that are added to those questions?
Yes, I see that Matt's been answering. I'm going to hop back over because I see we had a hand up. If you have any questions, feel free to put your hand up and I will unmute you.
Okay. Yeah, so I see somebody have a question there?
There was one from Alwyn D'Souza. How can we ensure it clears the correct check numbers and amounts? I think you're asking, like if you upload something that doesn't exist, it creates that exception report. But if I'm mistaken, what you're asking there, just feel free to put your hand up.
I'm going to stop sharing and then might be able to see who's got questions. Okay, so
There we
Alwyn,
go.
you've got a
We have
question.
a hand up. You are unmuted. You're good to go.
You might have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah. So, many times we have similar amounts, like say $30, $35, $50 kind of things, and end up
Mhm.
selecting, with these multiple check numbers, different check numbers, but similar amounts, end up selecting first available check amount. Sometimes mismatch is there, so that is
Mm.
what I just want to ensure that
Yeah.
how
So
we. Mhm.
so if you use the method that I've suggested, you will be matching you won't have that issue should not come up.
Okay.
If you're using Matt's method, you've got to put the check number in the description.
Mhm. Yeah, so we have a high volume transactions, 50, 35, and that kind of thing. So I just want to, I'm going to use the
Mm.
techniques you showed me, but
Mm.
maybe previously I
So
was using.
if you're doing the upload like I showed you,
Mhm.
then that upload is got check numbers and
Okay.
amounts, and then it's what you're taking from your bank statement. So
Okay.
basically, you're taking that from your bank, you're downloading that from the bank, putting it into that spreadsheet, saving it, uploading it, or using a data exchange. So you will be importing into the system your bank statement with check numbers and amounts.
Okay, thank you.
So it should
Last
never mismatch it.
Yeah, last question. I don't want to pull everybody's time. So we also have many our utility companies like 50, 60, maybe 70 transactions, auto withdrawals from our bank, and then when you're doing the bank reconciliation. So I don't know, there is a best way we can use the similar technique as checks because we don't have any reference number within our bank, but I don't know how we can match those dollar to dollar and. Some of them are cleared in the
So
same month. Yeah.
yeah, so if you're using the method I've showed you, that suggest lines sort of assumes everything is cleared, and then you just really delete from the statement side anything that is not cleared. And I just try to show you very quickly some techniques of filtering for that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, when you do a bank recon nowadays, should really be everything should be cleared except for some checks and maybe a few deposits or transfers at the end of the month. The rest of it should be cleared. So it's going from a slightly different angle, saying everything's cleared except this, this, and this.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
We do have a new one in the Q&A from Kelsey. When doing the one-to-many match, when you select the multiple lines, is there somewhere that shows you the total so you can make sure you didn't accidentally select too many or not enough?
It doesn't show you the total when you're selecting them, but as soon as you match them, you can see the total of your selection. So that's really the only way you can see that. And if you realize then like, oh, there's a mistake, it's relatively easy just to break the match and try again. But again, I do appreciate when you have like a lot, like where I heard somebody say 300 EFTs, it gets a little bit challenging for sure. So I think in that case, Rhett's method might make more sense, where we're kind of assuming things are cleared and removing things that aren't that haven't cleared yet. That helps, Kelsey. But there is on the statement side, there is a summary, like it says amount applied, and you can click on that and see exactly what you have applied to that statement piece.
All right, let us know if you have any final questions. If you do have any more, you can always reach out to your CSM or customer success at sparkrock.com, and I can send those questions to Matt and Rhett. I do enjoy picking on them once in a while, as I don't get to anymore. I'm not a CSM and I'm in the marketing team. I do want to thank everyone for coming. I'll pass it over to Taylor as well. See if she has anything left to say too.
Hi, didn't have anything else to say. Just wanted to say thank you for joining. And yes, please do reach out if you have any additional questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
Have a good day.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
nice
Thanks for the
afternoon.
questions.
Bye-bye.